Welcome to Inside Design with Kandrak and Cole, hosted by two nationally published Atlanta interior designers, Joanne Kandrak and Kelly Cole. These energetic women are also world travelers, charity givers, and bloggers with a wealth of information to share and stories to tell about the interior design world. Okay, now just a warning, this is going to be fun and not too serious. After all, they still do have an interior design business running at full speed.
Hey everybody, thanks for tuning in. This is Inside Design with Kandrak and Cole, and this is episode 107. And today we have a guest, Yash Ranga. He is with Jaipur Rugs, and we recently heard him speak at the Design Influencers Conference, and we were blown away by all that we learned about rugs in general, but especially the compassionate and uplifting initiatives that Jaipur Rugs is taking on within the rug industry. So I love Yash's title, which is Conscious Luxury Evangelist. Is that not fantastic? As well as Stakeholder Engagement Partner for Jaipur Rugs. So Yash provides strategic vision to the two intertwined verticals of the Jaipur Rug Foundation, which are skill and social development through engaging multiple and diverse stakeholders and by curating an effective partnerships platform that maximizes impact at scale. So if all that kind of went over your head, don't worry. It'll all make sense when we're finished chatting. And if you're not familiar with Jaipur Rugs, they are known all over the world for their inclusive value chain that links grassroots artisans, which we're going to talk a lot about today, with global markets. So we have placed many a beautiful Jaipur rug in our clients' homes. So you'll definitely want to check them out at jaipurliving.com.
So excited to talk to Yash. But before we dive in, we want to let you know that this episode of Inside Design is sponsored by ProSource Wholesale Marietta. ProSource is locally owned and operated with the support of being a national wholesaler. They specialize in sourcing finishing materials for your residential or commercial projects, specifically flooring products such as CPT, LVP, tile, wood, and kitchen products such as cabinets, plumbing, cabinet, and door hardware. Becoming a member of ProSource gives you access to the showroom featuring over 20,000 samples of the important go-to materials, as well as new designs and collections and pricing below wholesale. So if you live in Atlanta, be sure to visit the Marietta location. Tell the team we sent you. If not, go to their website, prosourcewholesale.com, and click on Find a Showroom.
So welcome, Yash. We are so thrilled to have you on today, and thank you for joining us. It's 7:30 at night in India, and we really appreciate it.
Thank you, Kelly and Joan, for inviting me on the show. What a delight. Thank you.
Yeah, so we have to say that we are pretty psyched to see that Jaipur Rugs is women-run by the founders' daughters, who currently are running at the helm, Asha and Archana Chandri, and that this shocked me, that Jaipur makes its home in Ackworth, Georgia, which is literally 10 minutes from our office.
That's so cool.
So we need a tour. I mean, how did we not know this? I mean...
I know.
So have you come to the States since COVID, or has it been a year?
So I was last in States in February 2020, but now it's been like more than a year.
Yeah.
But I'm usually in States 3 to 4 months a year, so almost 3 to 4 times.
Well, we will be meeting you in person for sure, Yash.
And we will be having a nice lunch and touring the location
that we can practically walk to.
Yeah.
So we have so much to talk about since the High Point Spring Market's coming up very soon here, June 5th through the 8th. Can you start off by giving us some insight into what we'll see at the Jaipur showroom this market?
Sure. So firstly, you'll get to experience the completely new avatar of our Jaipur Living showroom, and where we'll be featuring most of the big size collection, and especially the delight would be the new pillow room, where we'll be featuring our latest pillow collections. And most important thing I would love to share here is that we'll be also showcasing our bigger collaboration with Kevin O'Brien, and this is a very interesting collection called Human Nature. So all the inspiration would be inspired from the nature of human beings, and there'll be a special feature of this show for us. And interestingly, I want to share that tomorrow we have a trade talk where we'll be talking more about the collection, more about the inspiration. And second most important thing, what we decided this year also, that the people who can't travel to High Point can virtually experience our showroom and shop virtually as well. And most importantly, by January 1st, people can shop the collection from our website. Yeah.
Nice.
Wow.
So you guys are in the same location in High Point. You just made the showroom better.
Yes, a new one.
Okay.
The whole human experience there. Yeah.
Oh,
When
I'm
you're
so
talking about
excited.
large sizes, what size are you talking about?
So like 8 by 10s and even larger than 8 by 10s.
What's the largest that you do?
So we do like 10 by 14, and then we do a lot of customized size as well.
Okay, good.
Well, it's so interesting that you say that, because I am on the hunt for a 10 by 14 for my family room, and that size is tough to find. 10 by 14. You
So
see 10
you
by
got
12, but not 10 by 14. So I'll be there.
You'll get it.
So you guys are just a special organization. And when you spoke at the Design Influencers Conference, you talked about a lot of things within the Japur Living Foundation that I don't know. I feel bad that I didn't really know that about Jaipur Rugs, but you guys are really doing a lot of special things, and we want to dive into that because I think it makes your industry even that more interesting. So, for example, you have worked so hard on reviving a dying art, which we see a lot in our industry. Ancient practices that are not being learned by the younger generation, which leads to literally the distinction of beautiful craftsmanship and products. So what is Japur doing to ensure the survival of rug weaving?
See, this is the most important commitment that Jaipur Rugs made since its inception in 90s, that we have to somehow survive this craft form, because the next generations, because of the unorganized nature of this industry, will not able to survive if we don't pay special attention to that. And for the very special reason, we created Jaipur Rugs Foundation so that we can engage with these craft communities, develop their creative capacities, and sustain them throughout their journey of transformation, which starts with them, then ultimately transforms the rug industry to the next level. And just to give you an example, what we are doing in specific practice is, first, we are developing these weavers as designers of future. So we have created whole new collections where the weavers are designing their own rugs. And to your delight, we have one of the weaver designed rug has won the Domotex 2021 Carpet Design Award just last week.
No way!
So
that's huge!
That's wonderful.
Thank you.
Wow.
So that's the potential, that's the human potential that we are exploring in, and that's one area where we are working. And second area is very close to my heart, where we have entered the prisons of India, and we have been training these prisoners who are lifetime imprisoned to weave their own rugs, and especially their own designs, and express how they feel while they are in these prisons. So the whole objective is to create these prisons as, the whole co-creative spaces, design spaces of future. Because I'll share you one insight, that the rug weaving in India has a very special element in jails, because when the Britishers were there in India 100 years ago, there were all the rugs made in the prisons. So these are few attempts that we are doing in able to ensure that we will sustain this craft form. And secondly, with this whole design thing coming in it, we are inspiring the next generation to pursue this as a career of choice, not as a career or default.
Wow, and I know that 85% of your weavers are women.
Absolutely.
Well, and I read on your website that, and I like this word, where Jaipur Rugs pay special attention to employing the untouchables and subverting centuries-old practices that have shunned the poor and women and artisans that I don't know, it just touched me that how Japur is really uplifting these artisans. And I remember you saying that many of these women never see the final product that they wove. Is that right?
Yes.
And what were you telling me or telling the group about? Tell us about some of the initiatives like writing and literacy that you do for these untouchables.
Sure. So before I like to share a small anecdote, this whole idea of Jaipur Rugs, how it started, how the journey started. So in 1970s, the founder, who was very passionate about craft culture, but unfortunately the craft and culture was practiced by so-called untouchables at that point of time. But he decided to pursue his passion and started working with these people. But at the same time, he got rejected from his family, his society, because he chose a career to work with people who are not accepted by society. And he says very eloquently that Jaipur Rugs is a product of love, unconditional love that he got from those community of weavers, and the community of weavers from God got from him. And out of this unconditional love, the Jaipur Rugs started from just 9 artisans, and today we have 40,000 artisans. And
that just gave me the chills.
Yeah,
I mean, that's an amazing story.
Yes, and that was a time when these people were considered untouchables. Now, when you go to their villages, the villages are known by the name of these women artisans because they are now globally recognized as designers. So this change all came with this whole philosophy of unconditional love with human beings around.
Amazing. So tell us about the initiatives that Japur has taken on to uplift this group even further.
Yes. So when we started, we realized that with Jaipur Rugs supply chain, we are providing them financial independence by providing them work directly at their doorsteps and completely eliminating the middleman. But we realized that these communities have a lot of other challenges by design. So what we can do as practitioners, so we through the foundation, we first focus that we need to provide these women who have never been to schools and colleges with education. So we created a special design program supported by one of the rug designers, Jenny Jones, called Alternative Education Program, which this program provides these women artisans basic literacy to write their name so that they get more confidence, more motivation, they feel more independent, and then they need to learn how to do basic maths so that nobody tells them how much they make. They know how much time they have spent to make these rugs and what money that they make out of it. So the whole idea to make them more empowered starts with education. Then second thing we felt in these villages is healthcare is the biggest challenge because due to the vast spread distances from the city centers and from the major hubs, these villages are very remotely located and they have a very bad access to healthcare. So we decided to use our supply chain ability, to use our reach in these 600 villages of India and provide them access to healthcare. So one of the examples which I would love to share is we realized that 90% of the people considered they have problems in their eyes because they might have done some sin in their previous lives, but it's just a reflection problem which they are not aware of because they don't have eye checking systems around their villages. So we partnered with an organization called Vision Spring, which is again based out of New York, and we ensure that we provide eye checkups to almost 30,000 women in our first year. And to our surprise, out of 30,000 women, 26,000 women got the glasses for the first time in their life. Imagine the change that they have seen after wearing the glass. Their confidence rose up, their taboos got vanished, and more importantly, their efficiency rose to next level. So our whole vision with healthcare now is how do we ensure that each and every person in the villages, being the artisans or the non-artisans, have access to best eye care in the world. And then we realized that how can we bring doctors there? So we bring pediatrics, we bring gynec doctors, we bring physicians there, and we give them direct consultation so that they have understanding of what is a good healthcare looks like. And when there are some cases that needs more follow-ups, then we connect them directly with hospitals so that they are more insured with better healthcare. With this, we realize that there is no insurance facilities for them. How do we insure them, just not while they are working, but after they got retired from working? So we connected them with a lot of other government schemes, and we ensure that they have a proper insurance system in place while they are working. So once they are retired from work, they don't have to seek others' help, because they are artisans and they deserve to live a life of dignity throughout their life. That's another area where we are working. And then, one of my favorite work that I think we have accomplished is that the way you and I have our degrees, and wherever we go, we have our own resume which tells what we have done and where we come from. But these people are phenomenal artisans. They have phenomenal skill sets, but how they can show themselves that who they are. So we did a lot of liaisoning work with the federal government in India, and we created a policy for the artisans that according to the international standard frameworks of skill sets, these artisans should be qualified as artisans. And then by a government process, they went through an exam and they cleared the exam, and now the Jaipur living artisans are the only weavers in the world who are certified by the federal government. So now if they travel to other country, they can just show their certificate and they can get the work of weaving anywhere in the world.
So I'm fascinated by this. Now the founder, N.K. Chowdhury, were all of these initiatives his ideas? Or did
they come about later?
So he is a visionary, and he has a completely different perspective for the rug industry, and he keeps on doing research, and he has a very strong team, and the team works round the clock to create more opportunities for the weaving community so that this craft will survive, and more importantly, how we will serve the underserved customers around the world and create an experience which is unforgettable.
Talk about making a mark on the world.
Really?
I mean...
Well, and this really is so interesting to me, Yash, because I do a lot of work in Guatemala. Joanne and I have been year after year building homes for the poor, and we've been spent a lot of time in the villages. And my friend Diane started a company. She runs an orphanage there, and she started a company or a site organization called Loom, where she gathers women from the villages who are weaving and is creating beautiful products, but it's a baby version of what you all do. And I've just seen firsthand since she started how these women have been elevated, not only because of the income that they're earning that's far greater than selling tortillas, which is what a lot of the women in the villages do.
The confidence.
But their confidence level and the sense of community that they have because they've come together and they've started this organization. But I wonder if, I hear about all the things that you're doing, and I just wonder, in terms of government involvement, I don't know how Guatemala, if they could, I don't know, but I sense that the government might not be as cooperative or as interested in these initiatives as India has been.
I think, I'll be very happy to explore with them and, share how we did that blueprint. And probably that might help because, there are 300 million home-based workers in developing economies. And now there is a whole new shift at the UN level and at the international level that this year onwards, it's an international year of creative economies for sustainable development. And more governments are coming together to revive their creative economies. So I think there can be an interest if properly worked upon, and I'll be very happy to part of this change. Yeah.
Oh, I might have to connect you because I just think it's the most amazing thing. So tell us a little bit. The other thing that you talked about that I was so excited about was Knots of Compassion, which is your Airbnb in Japur that people can stay at and really get a firsthand experience with what's happening with rug weaving.
Absolutely. So, like this came up over a very interesting conversation, informal conversation, which happened to be with one of the top 2-3 leads at the Airbnb in Mexico, where I was just sharing them about the work that we are doing and the vision to connect the craft with the world and with the vision to connect these artisans with the world beyond borders. So I happened to end up being at the Airbnb headquarters, and we got into a social impact partnership where we opened our villages for the world to experience how the rugs are made and how the transformation happens with each and every knot while these women weave. And we gave it this whole name as Knots of Compassion, because it's not only just these weavers who are responsible, but it's just the whole world who appreciates this craft form. And that's how we started this Knots of Compassion experience at the Airbnb. And whatever money that we get from these experiences goes all into foundation for the transformation and the development of these villages. And it became such a hit that designers from all over the world started coming and experiencing the whole day in a life of a weaver in the villages, and some extraordinary projects came up from these Knots of Compassion, where we ended up making one of the rugs for a Ferrari family member, where one of the weavers got connected with his wife, and his wife shared the whole journey of his husband Mauro till his 60th birthday. And it was planned in a way that on his 60th birthday, there will be a doorbell knock, and that will be a rug presented to him with the video and with the whole experiences. So whatever he experienced in his life for 60 years, that women, with her understanding and with her involvement in her life, made that rug for Mauro. So these kind of experiences have come up from Knots of Compassion, and we have seen people coming and proposing their girlfriends in these happy villages.
Well, you know what I love about it? It's kind of like a field trip. Like it's educating. Like when you look at something in your home, if you did have one of these rugs, you will look at that rug and know what went behind it. And that's what Kelly and I love about interior design, is being able to use products that have meaning, that have soul, that it isn't just, that there's a whole story behind all this. And what an honor to be able to have one of those things in your home and to be able to tell the story. Because I don't think most people know this. So I love that Japur is doing this to educate. And, by us doing this podcast, we hope that our listeners will see that there are companies out there doing extraordinary things that we don't always know about.
That's a great point. I mean, when you think about a woman who couldn't even write her name, she has learned to write her name. She has a craft that is winning awards, that is known globally. Villages are named after these women now because they are such renowned artisans, and it's simply amazing.
And it's going to carry on through the generations.
Hopefully, yes. That's the key, for sure.
Yes.
So we really can't thank you enough for sharing the impact that one company can make on the world. I mean, it is truly beautiful. And we want to make sure that if those people that are listening want to learn more, that you go to japurliving.com and japurliving.org, right? To learn more about the Japur Living Foundation.
To know about Jaipur Living Foundation is jaipurrugs.org.
Oh, I'm sorry, japurrugs.org. Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha. And so when you go to japurliving.com, you can see, that's kind of like what we would go to if we're searching for a client and we're looking for a particular rug and so forth. But to really learn about all that the foundation is doing and all these cool stories that we're telling you about, you can go to japurrugs.org. And when you go there, you can see the stories of particular women, and it's just, spend some time on it. I mean, it's really, truly amazing. So, Yash, will you be at High Point? Will we see you there?
This year, no, because of
No.
India has a very difficult COVID second round surge, and I myself
Yes,
just
that's
recovered this week from COVID.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh my
I've
gosh!
heard
yes,
it's been
terrible
bad.
in the news. And so, what is? Are you guys able to get vaccines yet, or how's that going?
It has started, and at the same time, the surge has started, so we are still struggling, but things are getting slowly on track.
Were you very sick, or did you? kick
Oh,
it
I
kinda
was
quick?
in ICU for 10 days. I was
No
just close
way!
to death. Just
No! Oh no!
You're too important to die, Yash. You have much more to do.
Oh my gosh! Well, what about your family? Were they sick too?
They are safe by God's grace. So I got myself isolated 10-15 days, but I just got really sick and I had a blind date with death, but I'm back now.
Wow, that is so.
You still
scary.
have more to do.
Yes,
still have more to do.
God wanted you here. So, well, hold on for a quick second. We always say a quotes at the end of the podcast, so don't leave us yet. So, you want to do the funny or the serious
Sure,
quote?
I'll do the funny one.
Okay.
So, the funny quote is, "Don't be so hard on yourself. The mom in E.T. had an alien living in her house for days and didn't notice."
Now, you might have to be a certain age to appreciate the movie E.T.
Yeah.
I realize when I wrote that,
Yeah.
but when you think about it, that is hilarious. All right, here's our serious quote for this episode, and it comes from the founder of Japur. "Let goodness, fairness, and most importantly, love prevail in business, and the profits will inevitably follow." And I think that really sums up, like you said, Yash, it all comes from love. It all comes from compassion, and all of this growth and these amazing initiatives. That's where they came
Yeah,
from. When
they're-
he didn't care that he was shunned for working with the untouchables, and thus this amazing company
Yeah.
came about.
It's a really great story. I'm really glad you joined us today, Yash, and explained this to our listeners. And a big thanks to ProSource Marietta for sponsoring this podcast. And if you enjoy listening to Inside Design with Kendra and Cole, we'd be grateful if you would give us a 5-star rating and review us so others will be encouraged to listen.
So, Yash, I hope you're definitely on the mend and you're feeling great now. And maybe October market or next spring market, or when you come to Ackworth, we will see you and spend some time together in person.
Absolutely looking forward, guys.
Great. Thank you so much for joining us. And thanks for listening, everybody.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Join Joanne and Kelly weekly for a lively conversation about trends, travels to industry events, current design projects, the good, the bad, and the ugly, do's and don'ts, product recommendations, and more. Be sure to follow the fun on Facebook. They're on Instagram at Kandrak Cole. And of course, you've got to visit them online at kandrak-cole.com for more information.